Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. This is our 4th episode now. It is actually our 3rd career episode. And so in the last video you guys saw me triumphantly finish 2 contracts that I had been working on. And almost kill Jebediah Kerman in a simulation. And I said simulation by making air quotes. I know, that does you guys a lot of good because I don't have a face cam as of right now. And that's something that I want to work towards eventually. Because everybody likes to see YouTubers' faces when they're playing games. That's half the fun. To see the weird faces we make when we're playing games. You make them too. Don't lie. We've seen them. Anyway. So let's look at our contracts. Now, any of these conduct a focused observational survey, we're not able to do at this point. I mean, we might be if I knew what I was doing or if I could make like planes, but as we saw in the first video in the sandbox mode, I can't figure out how to get the tail section to snap onto a plane, and so without a tail, planes tend to not work very well. But yeah, so anyway, what is this? Ferry 2 tourists safely to their destination. Sounds pretty simple. And what are the goals? Okay, so suborbital spaceflight on Kerbal for both of them. That seems pretty easy. Completion is plenty. So we're going to get quite a bit of money from this. I guess not quite a bit, but we're going to get some money from this. And it says 5 years. I wonder if that just means you can have it for 5 years before it expires or whatever. Hopefully. Because if it's 5 years in space, I don't think that will work. So anyway, so we'll go ahead and accept that. Ferrying 2 people in shouldn't be that big a deal. I think we can do that. Haul a heat shield into flight above Kerbal. Again, should not be hard. I think we're going to go ahead and do the parachute, to be honest. It's either heat shield, 42,000, 51,000, speed 1930 to 23. Yeah, see, that's a fast re-entry. And while that is easily possible, as we saw, I think I'm going to go with the parachute for now because survivability. So we need to take a Mark 16 parachute into flight, and then on our way back, deploy it between 6 and 10,000 meters. So. We're going to have that on its own little thing, by the way. I just thought about that. Because the actual parachute doesn't open up until like 500 meters, which means I would be going extremely fast. The other way you could do that would be to put that parachute on a plane, fly up to 6 or 10,000 meters, and, you know, just go really slow. But unfortunately, I cannot build planes that I know of. Let's go to research and development, because we have a little bit of science, not a lot. We may be able to unlock something, but I doubt it. Flight control. So that gives us some winglets and reaction wheel. Okay, that doesn't do us any good. Aviation, 45, and 45 for general construction. So we actually cannot get anything yet. We don't have enough science. So let's go to the vehicle assembly building and see exactly how much we can do. Now, I didn't think of this, but I don't know. Yeah, see, this only has a crew capacity of 1. So we're not going to be able to do that ferry mission yet. Though we can do the Mark 16 parachute. Which is this one. Put that right there on top. Put a drogue chute in symmetry mode. Want 2 drogue chutes. That'll slow us down. Okay, so we've got our 2 drogue chutes. And then we'll have a couple of the Mark IIs. Just for added slowing down. Alright. Now that's kind of goofy because I just covered the door of the command module, but I think it'll be okay. We're not going to have him get out anyway, so we'll just pop it on after he's in, pop it off after he gets out, right? So, we are going to go through... Looks like we just got a message from somebody. We're going to go through, put a stack decoupler on this. Actually, yes, because we didn't get the heat shield when we got the parachute. So, stack decoupler. Fuel. I mean, honestly, 6 to 10,000 meters isn't much. Pretty sure that 1 hammer will get us there. So the only thing I want to do is to add 1 there and put these down here, and then the drogue chute as well. Let's make another one here. Alright. So this should be the drogue chute. This is the normal chutes. And then this is the testing chute. And the reason I did this is because I want the drogues to slow us down. Then I want to use these to slow us down to the right speed, which would be between 20 and 90. And then use this. So, that's the plan. Now, this is a pretty cheap rocket as far as rockets are going. It's got way too many parachutes on it that it won't need. But all we need is to complete the mission. So let's go ahead and launch. So it's a solid rocket booster, so there's no throttling. Once I light it, it's gone. And we'll double check our staging. We're going to have a night launch, which should look pretty cool with this big old solid booster. So let's go ahead and 3, 2, 1, launch. Now, I'm hoping that this makes it to at least 6,000 feet, which it should, or 6,000 meters. I'm from America, alright, we still use the old ways, and I forgot to put fins on this, but it looks like it's going to stay straight for the most part. Okay, so we are between 6,000 and 10,000 feet, or 10,000 meters. We are going extremely fast, though. So we're going to do this on the way down. And now that we've slowed down, we're going to go ahead. It's dark. Probably hard for you guys to see. Ooh. That's cool. we're still going up technically as our velocity is dropping. So we're going to go ahead and tip this thing over and jettison it. Alright. Now I know that made it a little harder to see, but I'm hoping that the sun is coming up. It looks like it is. So hopefully that'll shed some light on this situation. Right? Right? Come on. I'm trying. I'm trying to make jokes. That was funny to me. Anyway. So the sun is coming up. We are going down. Nope, we're still actually going up. We have yet to start falling. So a hammer can get us over 50,000 feet, or close to it, almost 50,000 meters. So a hammer is a pretty solid booster. No? Come on. That was funny as well. I'm going to have to wake you guys up. I give you guys till noon. Actually, for these, it's 5 p.m. Are you guys going to bed that early? You don't find that funny? I thought it was funny. I know, I'm a dork. Anyway, we are officially falling. And we're going to drop the drogue chute once we get, further into the atmosphere here. We're just now starting to come into a denser part of the atmosphere. But we're not really going fast. I mean, we're about to break the speed of sound, as you will see from the nice little vapor trail that'll form here in a second as we get into atmosphere. But I'm not 100% sure how everything's going to work out. Like, I know the drogue chutes are meant to slow you down. They're not a main parachute. They're just meant to slow you down. And then the second stage of parachutes should slow me down to the correct velocity, which would be between, what did we say, it was 20 and 90 meters per second. So we're about to hit the thickest part of the atmosphere, which means we should start to see some heat. I mean, we're still below 700, so I don't know if we'll actually see heat, but let's go ahead and drop our drogue. I screwed up. I was trying to stage, and I wasn't clicked on my spacecraft. So let's go ahead and revert back to launch. Sorry guys, really am. Actually, we can revert all the way back to the vehicle assembly building. Let's go ahead and revert to vehicle assembly. And the reason I'm going to do that is because we don't need the hammer. The hammer is well overkill for what we're doing. So let's go ahead and go in here and get a flea. I just hope the flea gets me up high enough. And this time I'll try to actually do things correctly and not have my cursor out trying to click on my freaking parachutes. But I'm learning. It's a learning experience. Every launch I learn something. You guys didn't see that. You guys didn't see that. What do we do before we launch? We check our staging, right? Because that's what we do. Drag that up there. and that down there. Now, launch. Now, this is a much faster, shorter burning rocket. But hopefully, our speed will carry us up to where we need to be. And then we will... Don't tell me we're not going to make it. Oh my God. I'm not even going to throw the last parachute because we're not going to need it. I'm going to revert back to vehicle assembly again. That's 2 failures in a row. 1, I had too much. 1, I didn't have enough. So you know what that means. Goodbye boosters. Let's use some good old-fashioned liquid fuel. Alright, now 3 should be plenty for what we need. And then we'll put an engine on that, which we only have 2, so that's the one we're going to use. And because this is such a small rocket, I don't think we need fins. Haven't had an issue for a minute on stabilizing. But let's go ahead and check our staging again. And we'll move the engine down below our coupler that seems to want to stay in there for whatever reason. And let's get to launch. Alright, so let's throttle up, check our staging, double check, and that should be our main chute that we want to test. These are the 2 chutes that'll slow us down, and these are the drogue chutes that'll slow us down. So we should be good. Now launch. And right away I'm going to be throttling back. Because as long as I'm still accelerating, we should be fine. I about goofed up. I wasn't paying attention to my rocket. Alright, so we're going to have plenty of fuel to get to where we need to go. And I'm going to keep throttling back. And then we're just going to stage. I'm actually going to put on a little bit more throttle. And now I'm going to cut it completely. Stage. Alright, so we got it. And now we'll just come slowly back down. This is probably going to really slow us down when all these parachutes open all the way up. Oh yeah. Pretty slow. We're at 4 meters per second. So we're going to go ahead and speed up time till splashdown. Or at least right before splashdown. And that was a success. I probably should have went with a liquid fueled rocket right off the bat. But, you know, you live and learn. And, you know, NASA and all the other space agencies, they have failures as well, or unsuccessful missions. I wouldn't call that a failure because it was a good launch and everything went perfectly. But we did not complete the mission, therefore it was an unsuccessful mission. Wasn't a failure, but it was an unsuccessful mission. And let's go ahead and coast in the last 50 feet or so, or 50 meters. And we have splashdown. Alright, so we can recover vessel. Hopefully that gave us enough science to do something. Zero science earned. Lovely. We recovered quite a bit, so we've got a lot of money, actually a lot of money. Nice. Just gonna check real quick. Alright, sorry about that. Anyway, let's go see what other things we can do here. Now, we can't do any ferrying missions, and I was dumb to accept that because now I'm stuck with it. But hopefully we'll go pretty quick and be able to do some stuff. We don't want to do an escape trajectory out of Kerbal. Because I don't think we're ready for that yet. It is worth quite a bit of money, though. But yeah, let's just go ahead and do a heat shield test. Seems like it's pretty straightforward. We have to be between 19 and 2300 meters per second at 42 to 51,000. So, let's go ahead and do that. Basically, we just need a rocket to get into space. I believe we had one before where we're going to do a two-stage rocket because let's just break it up a little bit. So we're going to pull this off here. And it's not going to be a massive two-stage rocket, but it is going to be a two-stage rocket. We're going to do that. Put that in there. Maybe. There we go. Alright, get rid of the drogue chutes because we don't need them anymore. That means we can put these okay, and then we can put a decoupler on here. And then, oh, that's cool. It hides the engine. That's really cool. Go back up to engines, and let's put one of these bad boys on there. What do you think? That should do the trick. This is going to be ridiculously fast. But that's the point of it, right? Oh, see, we about forgot. The whole point of this mission is to haul that heat shield into space. Or not into space, but haul it at that certain point. So we put the heat shield on the bottom of the command module. Then we grab that and connect it to the heat shield. Alright, now let's put some fins. Do we want the winglet or do we want the basic fins? Let's go with the winglets because I have a feeling this thing is going to need quite a bit of stabilization. It's going to be moving pretty quick. Even before it gets out of Kerbal. So let's just go ahead and put it right there. Looks good. It looks like a rocket. Alright, so let's check it. We've got these can go with this now. So we don't need that extra stage. That's the decoupler for the module. That's the top stage, or the second stage engine. That's the one that's going to accelerate us. You know what? We may get into orbit this one. That's my goal. I'm going to try to get into orbit with this. Alright? I don't know if I can, but that's what I'm going to try. So let's go ahead and get out of here and launch this thing. Now we know that the hammer got us up to, what we say, it was almost 50,000 meters. It was like really close. So this thing ought to get us into space. And then we have our liquid fuel engine to get us some horizontal or lateral, as some people would call it, lateral momentum. So I'm throttling up so that I don't forget when we go to the other engine. And we're going to launch. So 3, 2, 1, launch. Let's put on SAS so that he keeps us nice and, you know, on target. Now, trying to get a little bit of a roll in here. We don't want to burn up too soon. Between 42 and 51. So that we didn't make it into orbit. But we are going to really high up. And our speed needs to be between 19 and 23. Yep, so we didn't make it. Crap. Is that not cool? And look at that. That was actually a lot closer to death than I thought. That's a lot closer to death than I am comfortable with, to be honest. We literally deployed our parachutes at the altitude they normally deploy, like open up all the way, and we were mere 20 feet. Well, I say 20 feet. That's a little further than that. But we weren't very far from hitting a giant mountain at 500 meters per second. See what I'm saying? Like, that would have been bad. I would have probably have died. Well, I know I would have died, but I mean, literally in real life, I probably would have died. So let's go ahead and revert flight back to the launch so we can actually do this again the correct way. I screwed up. I was trying to get to orbit. I should have just launched the thing normal. So we're going to go ahead and throttle up, turn on SAS, launch this thing. Alright, so these winglets basically don't let me control where I'm going very well. So, you know, that is what it is. And I'm going to save my liquid fuel. And the reason for that being is because I think that I've got enough momentum $55,000. What do we got to get to? 51. So we are golden. But we have to get some speed. So let's go ahead and I know this is possible with this rocket. I do. Let's go ahead and revert back to the assembly building and change those for the basic fins instead of the winglets. Because the winglets don't seem to be allowing me to turn the craft like I'd like to. So, because I'd like to build up as much horizontal momentum as I can. Alright. So launch. I might even launch without SAS on, just so it turns on its own, because it should get a gravity roll going. So let's go ahead and launch. This is actually a lot harder than I thought it would be, to be honest. It says we're in orbit, but I don't think we are. I think we should still crash back down on the planet, and we will. So, let's get back inside our ship here and see if we can pick up enough speed while we're coming back towards the planet. And I'm going to keep the stage on to help build up that much more speed. And we'll see if we can't do this. Between 42 and 51, we need to be doing 1900, and I just don't see us getting it. It's frustrating, though. And see, we're already slowing down. Got to 1400. Alright, so pretty obvious. We need a different thing here, and I think the key could be to put a radial decoupler times 2. No, not 3. Times 2. Right there. And we'll put a hammer on each side. And then we'll put, just for aesthetics and aerodynamics, we'll put nose cone on both of those. Alright. Launch. Alright, so now we are going to be really high up in space. I don't know where my apoapsis is. We're going to make it to 138,000 meters. That might be a new record for us. I don't remember. It's pretty close. So let's go ahead and speed up. Do. Higher and higher and higher we go. Where we stop, only I know. Look how much smaller the planet gets. Alright, now that should give us a pretty good slingshot back towards the Kerbal. So, or Kerbin. And then we'll hopefully be able to complete this mission. And that'll be our second completed mission this episode, and I'll probably end it once we complete it. So, alright. So, enough fooling around. Let's point it towards the ground and fire that engine. Woo! I saved it. I don't think we made it. And we are coming in hot. Too hot. Too hot. Much too hot. Guys, I apologize for what you're about to see. This was a grave error on my part. And Jebediah Kerman, if you look down in the right, he knows what's about to happen and he's going out with a smile. I told you guys I would not save him if I made another stupid mistake. And this is that moment. We are 1,600 meters above the ground, doing 354 meters per second, which is a little more than what we are able to save. I am going to try and hit the button, but I think that I am much closer to the ground than the thing tells me. So, without further ado, here goes nothing. Yep. I apologize, Jebediah Kerman. Your sacrifice probably was in vain. A moment of silence for the one, the only, Jebediah Kerman. Wow. Unfortunately, unlike the last one where we got extremely lucky that we landed in the water and not on the top of the giant mountain that was next to the water, this time we actually landed on top of the giant mountain, and that mountain was 1,600 meters above ocean level. So, that's a hard one to end on. But on that note, I think this one's over. I honestly don't know what to say. My stupidity knows no bounds. So if you like what I'm doing, and hopefully that's not killing the Kerbals, punch that like button. Leave a comment below if you'd like me to build something on here. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I promise I'm going to try not to kill any more Kerbals. Jebediah is a hard one to lose because he's the most famous. He's the daredevil. He will do anything. He'll strap himself to a seat on the outside of the rocket. He don't care. He just loves doing his job, or in this, loved doing his job. So as always, I will see you in the next video.